Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball. The Cubs and Cody pair up and a bunch of other little moves as well as spring training rolls on, and we're having beers on the berm. Boom, 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 boom. Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Jimmy. I'm here with Jake and producer BBD. Trevor Plouffe, not with us. Where is he? He's sick?
I think he's skiing.
Skiing, yes. I think he's skiing. Spring training. Supposed to be in the sun, having drinks. Jake, how are you?
James Davis could still be in the sun having drinks skiing, but it'd just be cold. Grinders only today.
Wow.
No bonus babies here. And hey, one of the Boras 4 dropped. So excited to talk about that. It's kind of the one that seemed to be the most penciled in. And then it was me and BBD were laughing before this, Jim. They're still keeping the Boras 4 going. They elevated JD.
Yeah,
into the Boras 4.
Michael K called him the Boras 5 on the game.
No way.
And I was like, wait, what? Who are they including? And then I had to Google it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, JD got called up, and I respect that. And we actually did get some news out of him, which I was interested in. He did turn down a Giants offer, which I was questioning with the whole Soler thing. So, I don't know, man. It was kind of a nice weekend. I know, spring training games were on. Listened to some radio and watched a little bit of ball. And, you just start daydreaming about everything, along with our TPPs. Thank you, everyone who's tuning into those.
Episode a day, every day, until opening day. Yeah, I'm excited to talk the Bellinger contract through with you. I kind of wanted to talk through with Trev, but he's out because I'm very kind of torn on these contracts.
Right.
And it's interesting how we got here. So Bellinger signs a 3-year deal for $80 million. The first year, $30 million. The second year, $30 million. That's 60 total now. The third year, $20 million. Now, if you look at it just like that, and obviously there's more to go, that's way less than they thought. They were asked for upwards of $200 million for a long-term deal. And the way the market shook out, San Francisco got Lee from Korea. Soto goes to the Yankees in a trade. Bellinger's kind of the last one left. No one wants that price point. So they pivot to what they did with Correa when he went to the Twins was, okay, shorter term deal, higher money per year, and Bellinger can opt out after both years. So at any point, if he thinks he's played well enough that he will get similar annual average dollars, like $30 million a year, but they'll spread it out over 5 years, so the total will be more. He can do that. If not, he stays with the Cubs and they pay him $30 million again in year 2, and then $20 million again in year 3. And it's interesting. It's kind of like a loss for Boras in a way because he wants the big old deals. But this is like the new way they're doing it. So I guess what your thoughts when you heard the structure and terms? Do you like it?
I just saw Dan Rourke. Go check out Blitzball Battle 4. I do like it. I like it. And, sometimes I wonder if this is just lazy, but I like it for every side.
Oh, okay, good. I'm the exact opposite. So okay. I'm excited. But I'm not coming at it hot.
Right.
I could be swayed pretty easily. I'm trying to figure out where I stand here.
I guess here's what I like. From the start, Cody Bellinger was going to have a unique free agency. What can you truly pencil in? He had some years that were really tough. They think they were injury related. He had a shoulder injury. Hopefully he's just straight out of the woods with that, and he's going to be the Cody Bellinger we saw last year. But if you're a team, you're naturally a little skeptical, right? I think that's fair. That I was wondering if we were going to get here with the contracts, because what this has turned into for me, and maybe this is a little too much of my watching guts brain kicking in, but basically Cody Bellinger has 3 years to have a good season, and then he can opt out again. So he, in my
2 years, really.
Well, 3, because he gets that third year of the contract. That's still $20 million. So if he hits on that third year, he would hit free agency, I think, still at 31, 32. So basically, Cody is giving himself 3 years to have a good season. And I would bet in those 3 years he's going to do that. And he's going to opt out and leave again. And if you're the Chicago Cubs, your whole thing is you didn't want to risk giving him $200 million. And then the back half of that contract could get ugly quick. So in my head, I'm viewing it as Cody Bellinger got himself basically a $50 million insurance policy for the next 2 years. And if he clicks in one of these 3 seasons, he's going to hit free agency and get another bag. So I don't know. In a way, I think we're looking for free agent contracts to become a little more rewarding. Like one of the overlooming things on baseball for a little bit is like, hey, if you give out one of those big contracts, it's going to hurt you. Like look at Pujols, like Miggy Cabs, these legends of the games that kind of became kind of these old thick shells of themselves. Like I think this gives Belly a chance. Like if he goes and he has the same year he had last year, he hits free agency, and I think he'll get the $200 million. So I think Belly would have liked that contract now, but I think everything considered, it makes sense to me.
It makes sense. I just think it's kind of a bummer. If I'm a Cubs fan, you're very excited for this year, but okay, he plays really well. Well, he's gone. So it's $30 million for 1 year. Hopefully you win the World Series. You go to championship series. Like it's really, you win the division, whatever you value out of like that. But then he's going to be gone. He's going to be seeking the open market. If he doesn't play anywhere near it, well, now you got to pay him $30 million to do it again. And you're just hoping for a bounce back because there's only 3 guys making more per year in the league. And now you're going to be paying him that guaranteed year 2 if he regresses to 2021 or whatever. Bellinger, now you're paying way more than you should for that Bellinger. So either if you're a Cubs fan, okay, this year's going to be awesome, but then he's going to leave us, or we're going to be on the bill for lesser value than what he gets. And I do think if he has like bad year, good year, like you're saying, I don't think he's going to get a big year there. I think he needs to do it now. Like he needs to have a big season right now, and then he goes, because last year was supposed to be the pillow contract. It didn't really work out. And now next year he's going up against Soto. So he's going to have a long, process waiting that out and then seeing what he gets and then getting his. So you got even more like kind of competition on the market coming next year than you had this year. So I still think his best chance is to play really well this year, put back to back, then you can go get the $200 million. Someone will give him that. But as a Cubs, like I hope he is really good this year, or he's just like marginally right, perfectly placed at value, and he doesn't opt out, but I think he's going to if he's anywhere near a positive player. There's so many contracts that have been given out recently that are longer term but kind of sensible that I'm like, this is awesome. This is a win for the team. This is a win for the player. This is a win for a fan base. Where me, it's like, I don't know, man. You did your pillow contract. You should be getting more. No one wants to give you more. Like, I would have rather him take like 5 years to get to a bigger total and be there with the Cubs. But instead, it's just weird. I think we're going to see a lot of these.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I like him. I think I like him for like a fringe, like the lesser money. But when we go into a player that's now earning the top 5 outfielder in the league average salary, it's like mercenary, weird opt-out baseball, which I don't really like. I like staying with the team.
Yeah,
I want the players to get paid, but I like being with the team for a while.
The fan angle, sure. Like Belly could be gone after this year, and you're gonna, if he has a great year, you're gonna wish you gave him the 6-year $200, but they weren't willing to do that. So yeah, if you look at the AAV level, that's more than fair. But I think total value contract wise, I think Belly's 72nd in baseball, and that's behind, Yoshida, who's the Giants outfielder? Jung-Hoo Lee.
But he can take those. I'm guessing he could have taken way lesser AAV and would have gotten more years.
Right.
We don't know. Those would have been offered to him.
We don't know.
I'm guessing.
But you'd think.
What's Yoshida's?
It's a reasonable assumption.
Yoshida was 5 years, 90. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if you're Belly, you played at, a top 10 MVP level last year. You've had seasons previous to this that you wanted to get paid that way because of the injury risk and missing years. I don't know. He still, because he's 28.
The season will be
his
age 28 season.
28, 29, 30 season.
So I don't know I think in the next 2 seasons, you're right. If he has 2 duds and then a good
it can't
third
be like
year,
the last 2 LA years.
he's gonna have to sign another contract probably like this.
Yeah.
But in the next 2 years, like I even think about Castellanos. Like Castellanos' first year in Philly wasn't good, and then he bounced back. Like I don't know, baseball comes and goes a little bit. And the other thing Belly has going for him, as long as he's out there, he's going to play high-level defense. So he'll be able to rack up some more and spin things that way. But
I agree that this season, next season, if he's good, as long as
the other can't be like a disaster.
like if he doesn't opt out after year 1, it can't be a disaster. Yeah.
Right.
It has to be. But then but that third one, if you have 2 duds and then you're just gonna do.
well, that would be 5 of his last 6 years were bad.
Yes.
So the fact he's getting $90 million. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. I do think from the fan perspective of baseball, this can be bad if we're heading that way. But I do think this is a pretty unique one, man. I mean, the 21 and 22 were really bad seasons, and then last year it came together. So we've understood the hesitancy from a front office perspective, and I understand Cody wanted to get paid like one of the best players in baseball because he was last year. Silver slugger, can play all over the field, lefty bat.
The Cubs fan perspective on it. Like it's not like this is a team that, not to throw anybody under the bus, but like the Royals or a team that never spends, where it's like, yeah, he has a good year this year, he opts out, and there's no chance of keeping him. Like the Cubs are a team that could very reasonably do the 5-150 after this or something if this year goes well.
I don't think so. I think they would.
I don't know.
I think they would have
Then it's
done
not
it.
a lot,
I think they would have
but-
done it. I don't think it's not
guaranteed.
bad, but
it's
there's
not
just
auto leave though. That's like auto free agency. Yes, Cubs might still be involved. Like they're a team that spends.
yeah. Well, I think they would have spent on him if they wanted. I think they probably are. There's a bigger market coming in the next couple of years that everyone's saving up for, which hurts Bellinger's case here. But there's a chance it's awesome, and I don't hate it, but I just like
It's awesome for Belly.
I'm thinking from the fans' perspective.
Okay.
For Belly, this is good. You get your money and you get to prove it. But I'm thinking about a Cubs fan. You're like, okay, we got our dude. All right, we're just gonna have to do this saga again next year if he's really good,
Right.
and that stinks. Or if he's like a dud, we're paying the AAV he's gonna get from us on like okay, now you have to prove it again. Like a pillow contract is crazy high. And that's where I get weirded out.
Yeah, I guess that's if things do go awry with this contract, whether it's injury or performance or whatever, I think Cubs fans they just say we're happy it wasn't a 6-year deal. Like, I think that's their spin. Like, that's from the Cubs accounts I was following. They were, the fact that this contract in total doesn't hit $100 million is kind of wild for the year that they just watched Cody Bellinger have.
Yeah. But it's also, and another reason why teams are like balking is because the expected numbers don't match up with the results, which who cares? Sometimes that's true and other times it hasn't been
but
true.
That's what's funny with him, with Snell. Like you're, I don't know, a lot of the metrics that normal players go off of, these guys don't have normal, and that's where their free agencies are weird. So that's where, and I know this starts to segue into those other guys a little bit, but if Belly runs it back and does the same thing next year, 4+ WAR, an 881 OPS, can play, the outfield, he's stealing bases, he can play first base. If he runs that back again, he's gonna get that big deal. If not, you can either be the Cubs and chalk it up to one year, and hopefully he bounces back. I don't know. I do think this is kind of the future, and I do like your angle of this might not be great for the fan, but I've always been a players guy. that hitting free agency right is so hard. Like, in a way, Cody Bellinger hit free agency right. He had a massive year, but the 2 years before that were so bad that he didn't hit free agency right. That if he does it again next year, he's going to get that 175, 200 million contract. And if not, he's locked up a good chunk of money. So I like the baseball side of it. I think the fan side is more than fair.
And it's the second time Boras has now done one of these because Correa switched to Boras in the middle of that free agency, right? And then he did the Twins deal in this manner.
Right, and we all wondered if there was some weirdness there because we didn't know if Boras was going to get like that full contract.
Who gets the percentage? Yeah. But it is because Boras always wants long-term, tons of money, and the Dodgers forever would never work with Boras, and it's flipped. It's weird because now the Dodgers are giving out these long-ass contracts, tons of money, just deferring it, and Boras has now done two of these where 2 years ago, the Dodgers were giving out the 2-year, $60 million contracts and would not sign a Boras guy. So it's interesting. And then, now do the other Boras 3 turn to him.
Boras 4. JD got called up.
Turn to him and say, that is like great PR by Boras.
Oh. No, still got 4.
Yeah. There's actually still 4 here. Do they turn and Snell or Monty say, hey, well, I'll do that? Or does he go float this, or does it happen?
That's what I'm interested in. And I'm also interested in super cuts. Go get yourself a super cut. How about that? That's pretty basic. Super cuts, they've got an ongoing training program with their stylists, so you get delivered the perfect fade or whatever the latest trend is. Reps matter. No replacement for hard work, and Supercuts is proof of that. 23 million haircuts in 2023. Average review, 4.88 out of 5 stars. That's for haircutting. People can be tough about that. Why don't you head to supercuts.com today or walk right in for a real smart haircut. Like I said, I used to, when I was traveling, just pop into a Supercuts, get that fresh cut, whatever city you're in, you're ready to go. Go visit their website, supercuts.com. Click the link in the description. Go check out the Supercut experience. I'm super interested for the Boras 4. Cubs-wise, their TPP, we haven't recorded that, so if you're looking for more deep dives into that with Belly and what that means for them, we'll have that coming up. I think the other thing, just closing the full loop on Belly, I think he also wanted to be in Chicago. I think that mattered. He probably did get other 5-6 year offers from other teams, but I do think he liked being a part of the Cubs and seeing his career resurgence there. I think there's a comfort level with that.
Yeah, but I think if anyone was offering him,
that contract, he'd have taken it. But
and I, per usual, would love to know what actually got offered to him.
They should make it mandatory that you tell everyone 15 years later.
Just make Angels fans a lot more sad.
Angels are going to get Monty or Snell. Someone's going to crack soon.
Do you think this contract is going to affect the year Boras 4?
I don't know. No. Pitching's so much more volatile, I feel like. If 30 starts, coming off a good year. I don't know, because I kind of am not into these contracts.
Right.
So I would just try to maximize your years in the league. You know what I mean? When you're a pitcher and you get to 35,
right?
Some guys got to fucking scrap by, taking 1-year deals. You got to be really. And these guys are both really good, but if they sign a 2-year deal and both 2 seasons are duds, they're fighting for their next contract.
Right.
They're not gonna get a cushy secondary one. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm articulating what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
With Belly, I think he could play good in that 3rd year and still get money and be around and get a deal. But I'm not sure with Snell and Monty. Snell has 2 Cy Youngs, but if they if the velo goes, if whatever goes in 2 years into this contract, they're not guaranteed. So especially Monty, who just fucking earned it.
thoracic outlet syndrome, like that changes your career, and then it's
fucking look
pretty
at
much
look
done.
at the timing of Woodruff's Tommy John. That just cost him so much fucking money. I know I'm jumping ahead. So with pitchers or shoulder.
Yeah, he's a shoulder.
With pitchers, I would say get your long-term most money. And if it's not what you thought it was going to be, it's still going to be so much money.
I think Belly's a pretty unique example. For Snell, I could see something similar happening, but you need more of an insurance policy on the back end. Like whether that's even, if it's that type of contract, but years 5, 6, and 7 are $15 million, which again, the price for a Cy Young free agent pitcher at age 30, I think you need to build in a little more insurance policy than Belly did. Because pitching, it kind of like what you're saying, it can just end.
Yeah.
Like Belly, pretty much whatever happens to Belly, he could still go track down some fly balls and put some swings on it and do something on the field. If a pitcher, when it kind of ends, it kind of ends. That I could see Snell doing this. Snell, like you said, and that's where it's, I guess this is where I'm kind of happy and it's aligning with where I've been, is that he's a 2-time Cy Young winner who just won the Cy Young and hit free agency and timed it perfect. But pretty much the only reason, the year before this, 128 innings, which I know isn't super big, but also in today's baseball, it's not awful. He had a 3.38. He's got a career 3.2 that he just won his second Cy Young, but he walks people. And people are skeptical of that. That if I'm Snell, I would 1,000%, wherever I'm going, have the first year opt out at this point. Because if I run back the same season, I hit free agency and I say, dude, this is what I do. I have a career 3.2. I'm back-to-back seasons with ERAs in the 2 or whatever it is. If I'm Snell and I do that, then I have done everything to earn the big boy, no negotiating. You have to give me $200 million, no questions asked. And I think he would get that if he ran back a similar season to last year. But you need more of an insurance policy.
Yeah, and if they do that with Snell, Boras is going to ask for $40 million year one.
Which
I think teams aren't interested. Like Jack Curry for the Yankees just reported the Yankees are not interested in a short-term deal.
Well, and I guess that's where you could still, that insurance money on the back end, you could take a little out of the first years.
It's just crazy because it's like, okay, we'll give you 1 year, $40 million. And if it turns out you're not worth that, don't worry. We're stuck with you for another 4 years for $35 million. That's where I don't understand why teams would really want to do these unless they really think that the guy's not going to leave.
It's the risk on the back end. That's what it's always been with the big contracts.
But the front end needs to be more than a year for a pitcher, especially if it's $40 million, because he's going to want to say it's like the highest AAV.
Yeah,
not
it's
show
like 1 year salary. Yeah, well, it's like I've been trying to think the last few days about like, is there a rule of like how front loaded you can front load at a deal?
Dodgers blow up all the rules, so
because I think there's like not. But so like thinking about Yankees and Snell stuff, I was like, they do like a 40-40, 20-20-20-20-20.
I think there's some AAV rules
because like
it
get balances out,
and the Yankees would have to pay all the tax. So, but even though there's some of the other big spenders, like I think teams don't want to do that with a pitcher.
How about this? I think for Matt Chapman, he should be interested in that kind of deal. Because, again, Matt Chapman, similar boat. Like, the defense is going to be there.
Have we heard a thing about him this offseason?
I think there's been Mariners rumors. I think there's Mariners and Giants, like, actual rumors.
Yeah. Giants are attached to everyone.
Right.
Giants are, their managers, Bob Melvin and Farhan, I believe, drafted Chapman, or at least was very involved in the A's during Matt Chapman's years.
A lot of connects there.
There's a lot of, at least, like, guys Matt Chapman knows there that like him.
I mean, the Blue Jays are. I know the Blue Jays came out and said they're done. Are they really done? Like,
it's tough to say what's a negotiating thing at this point. And
IKF's their starting third baseman. They have to be talking with Chapman still.
You'd like to think.
I like to think a phone call could happen.
I think, and that's where I guess the other fan side and not Cub fan, like you were saying with Belly, the baseball fan side of me, I'm excited for that contract format because if you're a team, you should be in on Matt Chapman now. Because if he's willing to do a contract like that, again, the fear is that Matt Chapman can't hit. And so if you're that team that brings in Matt Chapman and it's let's say it's very similar to Belly's deal, probably less if we're being honest, like Belly balled out last year. It's kind of like what we're both saying the same thing, but it's how you're viewing it. Like, hey, if Matt Chapman balls out, yeah, you wish that guy was going to be wearing your uniform the next 5 years, but you weren't willing to risk that. If Matt Chapman kind of does Matt Chapman things, then he's still got a chance to be there for 2-3 years. It's tough for me to picture a team if you only have to think about some of the big contracts we've seen.
Well, actually, I like this for Chapman. I like it when the AAV on the first year is less. Like, it's not crazy. Like, I don't think his would be insane. What do you think
it would be?
I don't think it would be 30.
If it was 25, 25, 15, like just $5 million less.
I guess that's my thing. I think we're in the same
the
ballpark.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Less
Like Freddie Freeman
less
got
than
27 average. Like, it's some of the infielders are less, and Chapman's hasn't been hitting as well the last couple of years.
But it's not going to be spread out. That's the whole thing.
Well, I'm comparing it to Belly.
Right.
Like, I think Belly's upside is higher, depending on position value and all that. But he he can play center field. Like, so yeah. I think if a team does it with Matt Chapman, it's going to be less. But I don't know. No idea.
It's also like
same B-War last year, Belly and Chapman.
It's also in
defense,
like
third
this
base, just highly valued.
This like structure, like qualifying offer and like losing draft pick stuff. Like for the Cubs, they're not at risk of that. But I wonder for a team like Chapman, like is the signing team like, well, we need at least like 2 years of you to make having lost or moved back that draft pick, whatever the rule is now, like to make that worth it. I don't know.
Yeah, the qualifying offer's not that. Okay. I like this.
Belly, it makes sense on the Cubs end. There's no risk qualifying offer draft pick wise for them, but
I like this when the team has the double option, like the Yankees did with Garrett Cole. And that's what I was saying on Talking Yanks a bunch. Maybe that's what it's missing for me, is where the Cubs can say, like, this is this is how I like these deals. And it's just a missing element, but the Yankees have done this before with players. So it would be like if Bellinger got the same deal, 3 years, $80 million, 20 or 30, 30, 20. And then they say, okay, Bellinger, you can opt out. But if you opt out after year 1, we are opting in for 35 year 2 and 30 year 3. And then he's just guaranteed to get a raise. It's basically like, boom, get a raise. But if he thinks he can get more than, that would now be 35 and 30. That would be 75 for 2 years. If he thinks he can go get 65, yeah, dumb. If he thinks he can go get more money over more years, maybe but less value, whatever, if he wants a different shape, then he would have to negotiate different things on the other end. But anyway, double tap out. So you do get a raise. Okay, great. Your pillow deal worked. But guess what? We want first rights. So we're going to opt into this. You have to negotiate the numbers. I don't think I did good double.
Yeah, I guess, like tacking on.
I guess wouldn't that stink for Belly? Because instead of him being able to opt out and get the $200 million contract, he's in for 2 for 65.
You would do more years.
It'd probably be like
that's what they did with Cole. They added another year.
It'd probably be like you make it. Cubs can opt in for like 4 and 120 or something, like $30 million a year.
I think you have to push it in this contract.
Something like
in this negotiation, you have to push it to something. Maybe the Cubs are like, we know you're worth it, but we can't afford that. Like, and get it done. And if they did do the double push, then you'd be happy with it.
Yeah, I think the Cubs are looking at it more business like that. Hey, if Belly balls out for them this year, like, there's these like fake war money calculators. If Belly does what he did last year, he's probably worth $40 million. So they made $10 million on that. Not how it actually works. But if he goes to free agency again, they're like, well, we had really good value out of 1 year of Cody Bellinger. Like, if Belly Ball's out this year and he hits free agency, they signed him to a 1 year, $30 million contract, and they think that's a win.
Yeah, I don't know how 1 year deals are ever a win for the team unless they go to the playoffs, sell a fuck ton of jerseys, more tickets for 1 year. But I don't know if that comes with 1 year.
Right.
But I genuinely don't know.
Right.
In my head, it doesn't make sense unless you go get a superstar. Maybe Belly is that. And I don't know.
We'll at least on their end, they also had him once. It'll be 2 total years as a Cub. No, that isn't actual math.
Yeah, I think it's perfect if he finishes the year at what's it going to take for him to not opt out? And
if he
repeated, hell yeah.
If he repeated you need a higher batting average to be happy with it for the Cubs, but the 2020 OPS landing point.
Yeah, that would be my ask, is make this a conversation again. Is Cody gonna opt out? That's from the baseball perspective. Because he doesn't have a lot of comparable seasons that would be on the line. he's pretty much, I balled out and I would do free agency again, or oh my God, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Give us a borderline seat. Give us your... Okay, what if he plays to his career averages next year? 258, 335, and 829 OPS. A 120 OPS plus.
He'll opt out.
I think so, too.
I think that'd be worth the option.
Can I give you
Because the other thing here is,
back-to-back.
if you're willing to do this contract, you could probably get the same thing again, right?
Probably more teams in on this. No,
you could do 3
attached to you anymore.
You could do 3 for 80 again with the opt-outs, and at one point you're just in.
Yeah, I think so. It's just a hassle. I think it's why Bryce Harper, when he was doing his deal, he told Boras, "I want one team. Right. I want no trades. I want nothing. I want no hassle. I want to spend the rest of my career with this." Now, he was good enough and long enough and awesome enough to do that, but it was still cool to hear a player be like, "I don't want any hassle. I want to be there, and I want to be there."
Yeah, I guess that would have been interesting if Belly's contract came out and it was 8 for 150. That's what
I was saying at the beginning, comparing him to Yoshida, and that I would have loved, and that's why I'm saying Snell and Monty should go get the most years,
spread it out
for the most money you can, and have a fucking career.
Yeah, I agree with Monty for that. I think the other free agents have. Monty's peaked.
I definitely agree. Monty's the best one for that. Snell should be getting more and can maximize. I do, but
Snell's in a position.
But if Belly did this, if it was on the table, I would have been I don't know, man. Do you want to just
right?
Not have to worry about this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if that was even floated, because I do think from the front office perspective, they would rather pay the big number up front than worry about years 5, 6, 7, 8 of Cody Bellinger making $15 million a year or whatever it is. And Cody thinks he can cash in a little more if he has a good year in a couple years. So, Snell, do this with the Yankees, and then Red Sox will counter with Monty, and then Matt Chapman. I don't know, man. Saw a video of him in the cage this weekend, so.
Okay.
He's putting in the work.
Yeah. He should be. They got to sign soon, but they won't. They're going to wait for more. They're going to wait for injuries. They're going to wait till every pitcher has gone through a start on each team.
Yeah. At this point.
Yeah.
This point, see how this week goes before you get nervous. You can't start the year on time if you're the pitcher. Chapman, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, spring training.
Cole hasn't thrown yet. Maybe he's working on something. Maybe he's beat up. They'll sign you. Boris' little weasel.
DraftKings. Make sure you guys are getting in on the action. The NBA is rolling right now. And DraftKings is offering you a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 back in a bonus bet when you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code TALKIN. New customers can get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 if your first bet loses. Wow. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code TALKIN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, ages vary by jurisdiction, void in Ontario, one no-sweat bet per new customer. Issued as one bonus bet based on amount of initial losing bet. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/promos for deposit, wagering, eligibility, restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Jim.
Wow.
Jimbuck 2.
Where do you want to spin to next?
Let's see. We have some pitching updates. Do I want to go there? Mitch Keller extension, I think, is snaps. We met him. He's nice.
Largest contract for a pitcher in Pirates history.
We were doing one of Jolly's videos the other day, a strikeout video, and Mitch Keller's season last year is a oddly high
strikeout number.
Oddly high in Pittsburgh Pirates history. So good for him. Go Rats, go! I think you were saying.
Third straight year, the Pirates have extended a member of their core for at least $70 million. So
kind of nice. You like that?
I do like that. Spending some money, keeping them around, and they got Skeens and other people coming, so they're looking to build.
Skeens on the scenes is what you've been saying.
I heard that. I haven't said it yet.
You mentioned Brandon Woodruff before. He re-signs with Milwaukee. Algonquin for the good place. And we've got some contract funk here, which is kind of fun, but like you said, it also, the timing for Brandon Woodruff was really tough.
Yeah. I mean, go look at his stats. This dude's been nothing but good when he's pitching. And he made $12 million a year in arbitration last year. And this coming season would have been his walk year, like one more year. So if he's healthy and repeats everything he's done, he's looking at big time money, I think. Am I wrong there?
Oh, no. He would have been... Yeah, I mean, we just talked a lot about how free agency can get a little weird. But yeah, no, Brandon Woodruff's been really good, and he would deserve a contract.
Whatever
contract.
Monty's getting, Woodruff would have got more. Yeah.
Even last year, I would not have guessed he pitched this much, and it was 67 innings, pitched 11 starts, 2.28. Like, he was awesome.
Good God.
Yeah.
Limited action last year, less limited than I thought.
Yeah. So arbitration said he was going to get around $15 million this year. And the Brewers were like, well, you're hurt, so we'll just non-tender you. And then he became a free agent. And then that sucks. The timing on that is awful. So people thought other teams were going to pick him up. He stays with the Brewers. He's going to get $2.5 million this year to rehab and $5 million in 2025 to do kind of the second half of rehab and get back into the big. So that's $7.5 million over the next 2 years to get back into shape. And then there's a $20 million mutual option for 2026 with a $10 million buyout. So he's guaranteed $10 million. If he's like, I want to go get free agency. Oh no, he would opt in for 20.
Either of them can opt out of that one more at 20.
And he would get 10.
And he gets 10 if either of them say no. If he says no or...
So it's $17 million for the next 2 years with the buyout. Because one of them says no, he's a free agent, he's going to earn in 2026 whatever his new deal is, and that $10 million would be. So $17 million to have a full rehab year and then a half like rehab get back to pitching year.
Again,
he'd have to be...
This one kind of falls under the... You wonder what else was out there.
He'd have to be bad to take that to take the 20 mil.
The mutual options kind of exist just to get declined.
For both sides to land on that 20 mil.
Is that an AAV avoidance? Like, is that bookkeeping? Because now that 10 mil, instead of putting that on
backwards eventually, but like in real time, you don't have to do it.
I thought they changed it, but the Yankees used to do this all the time with like Brett Gardner, where he would get a signing bonus and then he would get a buyout number, and that would get his overall price way higher.
I think it's because I think it's like your buyout number has to be at least half of what your salary the year before is. In this case, it's double, so he's well over. And then it's like for AAV purposes, it counts as a guaranteed season. So I think then it does spread out.
Yeah, something weird. Yeah, that buyout
the exact
is there.
verbiage of the rule.
It's just to put 10 more guaranteed $1 million down.
Whew. Woodruff, have a good 2025.
Yeah.
All that free agency timing stuff we just talked about.
That sucks.
If he doesn't, like he's had an amazing career and he might not get a proper free agency. Great.
Liam Hendriks goes to the Red Sox, 2 years, $10 million deal there.
The front office listened.
Yeah.
We need help.
Go get him.
And it's very similarly structured. $2 million base salary. Did he get a sign?
He was texting me a little bit when he was hurt. Maybe I should text back.
Like
congrats. He's a Red Sox now.
Couple Aussie boys.
It was cricket chatter.
Huh?
Yeah, $2 mil this year in salary, $6 mil 2025 when he'll pitch the full year, and then there's a $12 million mutual option, which again those exist generally to just be declined by somebody, and he gets a $2 million buyout on that.
Speaking of, I met Frankie Schwindel this weekend.
Wow, Frank the Tank.
Yeah, and I big timed him. He said I had to go back because I was at the bar. Claire was crying. I was getting her into the stroller, trying to get her calmed down to take her on a walk. And but I wasn't leaving. But I think that group thought I was leaving, so they were coming to say hi before I left. And then I was wrestling a crying baby, and like, yeah, thanks. I'm Frankie Schwindel, and I was like, in my head, I went, the player.
Frankie Schwindel.
Like the player? Aren't you in spring training? Did you not, is he not playing anymore? Blah, blah. And I was like, oh, it was blah, blah, blah.
Japan
Like pretty quickly. Yeah, pretty quickly. And I left. And then I came back in because I got clear sleep. I went up to him like, sorry, man. Took me a second. I was doing a lot.
Didn't expect you
but
here.
Yeah, he's from New Jersey. And then you look at him and you're like, oh, yeah, of course you're a big league player. You got the chain on, the black shirt, the chain, like hair look good. Like you look like a version of Trev.
Right.
I was like, oh, yeah. It was cool.
St. John's kid.
Family, big New Jersey family. I remember it was like when I went to a Yanks Cubs game, 2-3 years ago or whatever. There was a whole Schwindel section that was. They're the group of people wearing Schwindel jerseys, so you could guess that was family. I looked them up, Jersey, easy commute for them.
Schwinning. You like that Sox pen?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. That was a sigh of like, yeah, but like, are they going to start?
Kenley and Chris Martin back there is pretty cool.
No, the pen is really good.
Yeah, and whichever one of Whitlock or Houck that ends up back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the comments on the TPP for them that released yesterday was like, no, we feel really good about our pen, so I think the Red Sox and the fans are aligned on it's worth checking out the upside on one of those two being a starter. So sure. If they are into it.
They're deep into their careers.
At this point.
Yeah, right?
Gotten 3 full years out of them?
I think the other Gio signed with the Tigers, Gio Urshela. They've just got a whole bunch of the end of their roster is just going full kind of Swiss Army knife. Like Gio, Zach McKinstry, Matt Vierling, like all of those guys on a given day can play anywhere. Go Detroit, go. We're always saying on this show. And then the other kind of flashy one, Tim Anderson to your Fish.
Yeah, which was funny because it made sense because they're, a ball and play team, contact team. And he was, is that the most contact up the middle out of any team?
If it's a Rise Anderson, shortstop, second base, yeah.
Is he going to be the starter? I mean, they didn't have any shortstops, but I don't fully know what the plan is. That was my guess. But again, it's not like it's $5 million.
I think Fangraphs has him as the starter right now. I don't know if there's a kid who they're going to give it a shot and he's insurance.
Well, we know they have John Birdie.
Always.
And he can be util. I think the other thing that's going to allow them to be flexible is like a rise at second base isn't goated, as the kids say. I don't know.
Well,
you were going to say that. I think it can give them some options if they want to put him at DH or if they want
a rise at DH.
Yeah,
Rise has done some DH first base in his career.
like rotate him and Bell in the DH. If right now it has Avisail Garcia as their DH, and he's struggled the past couple years. So I think it gives
A
them...
rise as a DH is tough. He's got to learn how to field. Let's do that next.
Okay.
Luis.
Where do you want him to learn how to field?
Don't care.
Okay.
I mean, let's just do it because I like his abilities a ton. I love it. I think you need it in a lineup. It needs to come with a glove with it.
Okay.
You can't have a powerless DH.
I could make it work if I get the power elsewhere.
But they're not.
Well, they're the Marlins.
I know.
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal.
He DH'd in his final year with the Twins. He DH'd 38 times. A rise. Once last year.
I mean, a couple batting title champs atop the lineup. I'll say
I
this.
do like that.
I'll say this.
But Anderson has had struggles at shortstop as well.
Yeah, people were saying he had
Seems
to move
like
off
second
short,
base now,
and he
now
was
he's
one
back.
of the worst hitters in baseball last year. Hey, hopefully that's in his rear view. I'll accept the White Sox were just the worst ever and wash that off. My nice thing I want to say to the Marlins is, and this is my critique of the Rockies, the Marlins are trying something. Like, hey, if Arise and Anderson click up top, Bell, Berger, Chisholm run into a couple.
You know what they're trying?
They're trying something.
You know what they're trying? They're trying money. They're
1980s
trying
baseball.
Moneyball.
Would you say it's like reverse Moneyball?
Well, Moneyball was all about finding a statistic.
Debt ball.
It was finding
Right.
a statistic
Finding the hole.
that no other teams don't value. And then it's actually good and you can value it. At the time period, it was on base percentage.
Right.
A lot of people think Moneyball was just about on base percentage, but it was because it was undervalued by every other team. What's a stat that is undervalued across baseball right now? Batting average. And the Marlins can get guys that have a highest batting average, and they can even win arbitration cases against batting title leaders. That's how undervalued this stat is. So they can go get guys that are really good at this statistic for cheap.
Hey,
So
I'm rooting
it's-
for it.
It's basically,
Give me a Rise and Tim Anderson both hitting 330 come the end of April. Screw it. Ball and play. Come play ball and play.
Tim Anderson.
Tough free agency timing for Tim, but he gets the 1 year $5 million. I didn't think he was going to get like a guaranteed contract, so good on him.
Yeah, I mean, last year was...
It's as tough as the season can get.
I know, but the four before that are so good.
Right.
They got to carry some weight.
They got to carry some weight. I do think for him, it's also a bad combination of like he was the nerds always thought he was going to fall off because he's not an exit velo guy and that stuff.
Thought he was overperforming, and I
Not to
I
that
think
degree.
he's like the 2022 numbers on the whole are fine, but I think the second half was hurting bad.
I mean,
So it's like
I think
been almost 2 years since we saw him be good.
who on the White Sox had a good second half? Because that team, I think, was basically like...
I'm talking about 2022 seasons ago.
oh, so
like
second half of that season?
Second half of that season was bad, so we're like approaching 2 years since you were good. He made the All-Star team in the first half.
Come on, Eloy. Have had a big second half.
Wait,
And White-
second half of...
Second half of 2022.
I don't think he played.
He didn't play a whole lot, and it was bad. It's dragged some numbers down.
22 games. I think he had to be playing hurt, I would guess.
I assume
Got
so.
hurt.
And then it was 2023 was the worst year he's capable of.
So coming off an injury, vibes stunk.
Okay. Luis Robert, how was your second half? Gotta have it.
June, July, August was 40 games, OPS in the fives.
Robert had a worse second half than first half.
I mean,
How could you not?
how could you not? Yeah. White Sox as a team, and then we'll get out of here because I got
Okay.
I got to let you know. Half. I'm going to control find half. First or second half? White Sox as a team last year. First half. 686 OPS. Second half, 661. All right, I'm going to click second half so you had a good one.
You had a good one.
Elvis Andrews. Great second half. 305 batting average, 473 slug. Where'd he go?
Elvis, that second half Elvis Andrews, man.
Yoan Moncada had a great second half.
Okay.
Good second half. I think it's a good second half. And Andrew Vaughn, pretty good second half. You want the on base to be better, but why are you going to walk? You gotta get shit done.
He's at least a guy they'd like to be part of the group. Long term.
Yeah.
Everyone tweet at Trev. Good luck getting down the hill, buddy.
It was a really good second half from Andrews.
It's Elvis Andrews' deal, man.
Well, just nobody will sign him.
I mean, take Elvis Andrews over to Manor. Thanks for tuning in. Boom, 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 boom. If you're throwing $5 million around, throw it Elvis Andrews' way. Jake sucks.
A little over here, a little over there.
He's older, maybe he's only got certain teams he wants to go to. Just played for some bad ones.
Elvis Andrews' career earnings.
Tons.
That's the one big deal, right?
Woo!
Oh.
$137.
Wow.